What's up, Laker Nation, and welcome into episode 22 of the LakeShow Flow. I'm Gio with my co-host Joe.
What's up, y'all?
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the aftermath of the trade deadline and how that affects our team. Lakers did not make any moves. I'm sure most of you guys know that by now. But there is a little bit of ripple effects. You know, some of the West teams got some players that could help them play against us better in the playoffs. The East, a lot of moves happened there. But we're going to go into that. And then also the Lakers just played back-to-back games against the Sixers and the Cavaliers. And obviously in the Sixer game, they lost that one, came up short. Kind of like an up-and-down game. They didn't really decide to wake up to like the fourth quarter. So, you know, that's a tough loss, 109-101. And then they lost to the Cavs. They beat the Cavs tonight, 100-86, which actually started off as a really competitive game, and then the Lakers kind of took over. But if you're new to the channel, we just want to say we would appreciate if you guys hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, give us some feedback, and we'll keep doing what we're doing. So that Sixers game, I actually didn't get to see the whole game. What'd you notice though to start off for that game? Like, what stood out to you? Who do you feel stepping up the most during LeBron and AD's absence?
Well, I feel like for the Sixer game, obviously I feel like with Kuzma, he ended good, but I feel like most of these games he's starting off slow. But I feel like it's because Kuzma, we talked about it, I feel like he's trying to be like almost like a point forward type of like LeBron. He's trying to fill the LeBron shoes pretty much, which he's not going to do. Yeah. But I feel like he also knows that someone else has got to create something for others other than Dennis Schroeder. Because it's not going to be KCP, it's not going to be Morris, it's definitely not going to be Gasol. I feel like he's the only one that has that capability. Yeah. So I feel like that's playing a part into why he's starting off slow. And even in the Cavs game, he had a slow night, but his assists were up and his rebounds were up. So, I feel like he's just trying to figure out what he could do to help us win other than scoring. And honestly, like, I see a lot of people being impatient with him, like on Twitter. But I think it's messed up because he had his role figured out. You know, he was doing really good when we had AD and LeBron. So now it's like he's trying to adapt again. Yeah. And he's trying to do so. I commend it. You know what I mean? Like, I see that as even more progress to him, because if he's at least trying, he didn't have any assists in that Sixer game. No. So I assume he's probably turning the ball over and stuff like that. But at least he's trying to get people involved and, you know, take another step in his game. Because if anything, he's obviously going to be coming off the bench when LeBron comes back. Yeah. So, and he still does. But I'm saying, like, it's going to help him with that bench unit. I feel like everyone on that bench unit can create. And if we do end up getting Drummond, which we'll talk more about too, the buyout stuff. Yeah. Marc Gasol's gonna be off the bench, right? Yeah. So we're gonna have a lot of playmakers there. Like, we have THT already who can run it. Caruso doesn't really attack, a lot, but he can create for others at times. And then if Kuz takes this step in facilitating, I think it'll be good for him too. So at least he's trying to do that. I think people need to be a little patient with it right now because it might be a little sloppy. But as you can see in the Cavs game, which we'll get into that one, he actually was able to facilitate a little more. Yeah, I feel like with him, like I said, he's just trying to find his balance. Another thing we noticed these past two games, Schroeder. I feel like Schroeder knows that he's going to have to earn that contract. Obviously, we didn't just give it to him yet. There were some talks about trying to get Lowry. So he knows that he was in trade talks, So, I feel like as a player, some people understand it's a business and they're able to shrug it off. And then others can't take that type of, like, knowing, like, oh, the team didn't want me. Like, a prime example of it was pretty much when Lamar Odom got that trade where it fell through at first. Well, we were trying to get Chris Paul. Yeah, CB3. And we had to get rid of him ultimately to Dallas, but it just like destroyed him that the Lakers pretty much traded him and didn't want him. And even Gasol, it bothered him a little bit too that they were trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, he ended up going to the Spurs after that.
Yeah, so I feel like Schroeder, hopefully he could just see it as like this is just business. It's not really a personal thing, because I feel like with Schroeder, the only reason we're trying to do something like that is because it's hard to give someone almost $20 million a year that's been pretty much like a bench player their entire career and a role player. He did have that stint in Atlanta where he did start and he was their starter, but he wasn't anything special. So it's just it's hard to just be like, oh yeah, let's give you this money, because it's easy to look good when you play with LeBron and AD. Yeah. Because if we give him a contract, it's about 3 or 4 years, we're probably going to extend him. And who knows where LeBron's going to be in 3 or 4 years, And it's like you don't want to be paying someone over $20 million a year that doesn't live up to be that number 2 on the team, which eventually if you pay someone that much, he has to be the number 2 on the team.
Or at least, what makes the offense run, because if we get AD and then say, we don't know the future, but if Kuzma's still around, he takes another step and he's our second.
Yeah.
At least Schroeder needs to make the offense go. And another thing we noticed too tonight, because I didn't see the Sixer game, he had 11 assists.
Yeah.
So he was doing his thing, and he had 20 points. So I assume it was kind of like tonight, where he has a combination of feeding people and scoring.
Yeah.
Because tonight I was just telling you, like, he wants that contract. You know, he even had a LeBron James chase down block.
Yeah.
He was going for rebounds. He was on the ground so much, but not because he's just attacking, but because he's trying to go for steals. He's fouling people or getting fouled. He was just really busy, and I think he realizes, like you said, he's not going to get the contract, even if it's not us. Yeah. No one's going to pay him $20 million a year like he's chasing.
Yeah.
I think he wanted $80 million over 4 years, which is 20 a year. So
yeah, which it's a lot. I've heard a lot of people even say on like ESPN. People have talked about that. A lot of teams are not going to pay him that. You never know. Someone might bite and overpay, but if he does that, he's going to a non-contender.
Yeah, he ain't gonna be.
No contender is going to pay him a bunch of money. He's going to end up in like some random team like Charlotte, or like he's going to end up with, I don't know, the Cavs. You know, like someone that's not going to contend. And it's like if that's what he's about, and he's like, you know what, money's more important than rings, because it's not even like the Lakers are trying to like not pay him. They want to give him some money, but it's just not like, we're not going to just give you all this money, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I think another thing they considered was, even if, because we talked about the Kyle Lowry thing, we can get more into that, but I think they figured Kyle Lowry's done more, has a deeper resume in terms of being a starter, having playoff, experience, finals experience. He won that ring with Kawhi. So, like, he knows what it's like to be in those special moments, those big moments. Yeah. So Dennis Schroeder's never been on a contender,
No, and I feel like with Lowry too, he knows how it is to play with two stars, because Kawhi was a star and Siakam was an up and coming young star, and he was able to balance himself in that equation and be able to find where he needs to score and where he needs to go back and not do so much, play defense. So I feel like with him, if he would have came to the Lakers, it would have just fit good, because he, like I said, he already knows how to play with stars. He knows when he needs to turn it up, and he knows when he needs to be like, all right, I'm just going to feed someone else and I'm good. And I feel like with him, he's not an ego player. I haven't really seen Toronto play a lot, but from what I've seen, he's not someone that's like worried about like, oh, I need to drop 30 every game. Like, he's okay. I feel like he's more of a winner than I want to, be this like great, amazing player. He just wants to win,
Yeah, and I mean, as long as Schroeder keeps this aggressiveness, even when LeBron and AD come, because I told you before, I felt like he was suffering from like some bench player syndrome type of thing, where he's afraid to be the guy sometimes. Yeah. But hopefully this little run without LeBron, without AD, he's able to step up. And I mean, he looked pretty tired for how hard he was trying. I was already thinking a few times, he's probably thinking in his head, dang, LeBron has to do all this, like, because he was playing so much. He was trying to play defense, chase downs, get rebounds, facilitate the offense. So if he can keep this pace, I think it would be good for the team going forward, because especially the next game, we play the Magic. So we need to squeeze out as many wins as we can get.
The Magic just pretty much traded their entire team. So
yeah, they self-destructed.
It should be a win against the Magic, but I mean, you never know.
Yeah, like even tonight, I was a little nervous a few times before we took over. Obviously, the team doesn't have the same flow it does when LeBron's in the offense. So, I mean, it's going to be a little tough. Hopefully, they can keep the momentum. But yeah, we pretty much got to get as many wins as we can with LeBron and AD out, because by the time they come back, we don't want to be, Lord forbid, we have to do a play-in game, if we're number 10.
Well, check this out. After the Magic, we got kind of a rough stretch there. We got the Bucks, and then we got the Kings or whatever, but then we got the Clippers, then we got the Raptors, then we got the Heat, then we got the Nets. So, and then we got the Knicks, the Hornets, the Celtics, the Jazz again. Like, in the next, 10 games, maybe 2 of those teams, like the Kings, maybe the Knicks, even maybe the Hornets aren't that bad, but, the other, 6 teams are all playoff teams. So, we could potentially go 3-6, because LeBron ain't coming back within those games, I don't think.
And we'll be lucky if AD comes back, even at the end of that stretch. Yeah. So, I mean, we definitely could use Andre Drummond at this point. Yeah. So, I mean, it was pretty ironic we ended up playing the team that he got bought out from today. So, I mean, like we said, though, I mean, the first game against the Sixers, I wasn't expecting us to be that competitive, At least we made it something.
They didn't have Embiid either.
Yeah.
To put that out there.
But even with that, I mean, they still got Simmons and Tobias Harris, so I was like, we'll be lucky if we do compete. So, I mean, it looked at times, like I said, they started the first half competitive, let it go in the third, and made a little late comeback in the the end of the game. So that was cool to see because you saw the fight in this unit.
Yeah.
And then this game, I mean, you're supposed to beat the Cavs. Like,
Yeah.
the Cavs they didn't even have Sexton, so they didn't even have a star on the court.
And then Drummond was gone, like you said, the buyout. So I mean, their team was depleted, but
it's just good to see the energy though. Like THT, he bounced back from the last game, a lot.
He's another guy. I feel like with THT, he needs to up his play like a whole lot because basically he was the last piece in that Lowry deal that pretty much Lakers like, no, we won't part with THT. So I feel like at this point, the Lakers has shown that they believe he has value. So it's time for him. Not so he doesn't need to take a crazy step and all of a sudden become like the superstar, but he needs to show growth. He needs to show like, okay, I'm worth it because me and Sergio, we talked about it earlier. The Lowry deal helps us win now. And the biggest thing a lot of people have been saying that I've been hearing around, Sports Center is like LeBron's window isn't that big. Like it's about winning now. The whole point about THT, the reason why I was okay with giving up with him and letting him go was because sure, maybe in about 3 or 4 years, 5, 6 years, maybe he becomes an all-star, but I don't see LeBron being with us in 3 or 4 or 5 years. So it's like the Lowry thing would help us win now and maybe solidify maybe another 1 or 2 rings.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was just a lot that we were like, we showed that we have a lot of faith in him. So I feel like he needs to start to progress a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people too, they're going to put a lot of pressure on him, like us, I don't think you're putting like, you're not going to go, hating crazy. Like, but there's some fans that they're going to expect him to like put up the numbers of Kyle Lowry now. It's like not that. It's like we would have had to give up Schroeder and THT, and, some other draft capital.
And KCP, I think too.
Yeah, maybe even KCP.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the other side of it thinking, let's just, like, I wouldn't have been totally upset if we got him and had to give up that. But at the same time, I like that we kept some depth. Yeah. And as streaky as KCP is, it's nice to at least have that wing player still on the roster and have THT off the bench. So he is going to have to step up. He's going to have to show his worth, because he needs to get paid this summer too. So as much as he's going to play is going to factor into who or how as good as he's going to play is going to factor into if he gets a deal or if we try to get Caruso for cheaper, Yeah. So, so then we get on to the trade aftermath. I mean, if you guys don't know, Vucevic ended up on the Bulls. So that was like the first big domino to fall.
Yeah.
And then you had
Fournier went to, I think the
Celtics.
The Celtics, right?
Yeah, they got him for cheap too. Like
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
If you don't watch basketball, I mean, Fournier is not like he's not like some crazy baller, but he could play. Like
he was averaging 20 points. He was on the Magic.
Yeah.
But he's not going to take 20 points. He's not going to average 20 points on the Celtics, but he's a good enough player to add to their rotation.
He's one of those guys, because we're on the West Coast, they're obviously on the East Coast. He's one of those guys that we don't get to see play a lot, but if you know basketball or if you follow basketball, he's definitely a guy, like I said, he could play. He could easily drop 20 in a game. It's not like unrealistic. So they added that, which is a big deal.
And on the West Coast, or on the Western Conference, you had the Nuggets get Aaron Gordon. It was a fire sale.
And they didn't even lose anybody.
The Magic.
Like I feel like in the trade, I don't know if they even traded anything like crazy, but
they traded. I think it was it Hampton? I think they had.
I don't even know who they traded. Honestly, that's how much. Like I said, the trade, they won the trade in my opinion because they kept their starting lineup intact.
Yeah.
They have Murray now, Jokic, Porter, Aaron Gordon.
Yeah. They pretty much, people are saying that
they're a dark horse, dude. Like they could be dangerous. Like they're all young. They could run for days.
Yeah. People are thinking that they basically got a version of Jeremy Grant back. That can get onto LeBron's, Kawhi's, Paul George. He can switch on those wing players because he's got a build similar to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen the dunk contest. We've seen his hops.
He's got some athleticism. So I mean, Denver definitely got better.
You had our boy Rajon Rondo.
Rajon Rondo went to the Clippers for Lou Williams. So I mean, I feel like maybe that helps them out with their second unit type of thing because Rondo is a smart player, but not too much of an impact. But I think the next big thing that us as Laker fans or even just the league is waiting for is just to see where these big guys start to go. Like Drummond and Aldridge are obviously the two big names left, I feel, as far as the big guys.
Yeah.
And we could potentially even sign them both. We have 2 roster spots and they could potentially both take a minimum and we can make it happen.
It'd be pretty wild if we got both of them. I want Drummond over Aldridge just because
me too.
the rebounding. I think he's just younger. He's got more left in the tank. I feel like
he's only 27. I heard, actually, which is crazy because it feels like Drummond's been in the league forever. But he's only 27. Like, that's crazy young.
We heard today that he met with the Celtics, which would suck if he went to the Celtics.
If he went to the Celtics, they are dangerous. They are dangerous.
Like, they're already, pretty dangerous. But if they get Drummond in the mix, that team, I mean, they're going to give the Nets a run for their money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that we saw potentially the Knicks, who they're having a turnaround season. They're finally going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But
they the Knicks.
Yeah, they got money for next year. That's what factors into Drummond going there.
Remember when they had money, like, what was it, last year? And they were supposed to get Kyrie and KD, and they ended up getting Julius Randle and I don't know who else. Julius Randle's playing great right now.
Bobby Portis that year.
Yeah,
Bobby Portis.
Like, they were hoping, so it'd be funny if that happened again.
It'd be funny if he goes there, but he doesn't sign there.
Their big signing is Ricky Rubio.
That's a Knicks thing.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, the Mecca of basketball, New York. They were always an attractive destination. Like, even AD had them on the radar to get traded to.
I would play for the Knicks. I feel like if I was in the NBA and, like, obviously, my first team would be the Lakers, but my second team, honestly, would be the Knicks. Because there's so much history, and it's like,
if you got enough, if you're in the NBA, you got talent. So if you can have a mentality of, I'm gonna save the Knicks. You know what I mean? Like,
whoever saves the Knicks is gonna be like the biggest thing in the NBA, probably.
You think it'll be Julius? You think he'll keep this up?
I don't know if he could save the Knicks, but like,
he's gonna need someone
that guy
else.
that saves the Knicks, he's just gonna be that guy the NBA is gonna like.
They thought it was Jeremy Lin at one point.
Hey, could have been. Give the man a shot.
Lin sanity, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we don't want Drummond going either to those teams.
No.
Apparently, he's less likely to go to the Nets or the Clippers because of his role wouldn't be as defined. So the Lakers, obviously, he's gonna be our starter.
Yeah.
So I think obviously the smartest decision is come to LA. I think he even has time to showcase himself while LeBron and AD are out.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna be a big point of the whole team at that point. He's gonna have to be getting second chance boards. He's gonna be getting rebounds, blocks, all that. He's gonna be a big deal. I
mean, like you said, it makes sense basketball wise, but if he's going for the money, it's not going to be us.
Yeah.
So it just depends where his head's at. If he wants money or if he wants championship. So.
Well, here's the thing too: is he can still get money
next year.
So I mean, if he wants to just ball out this year, possibly win a ring, and I told you earlier when we were on our way to watch this game, if he is looked at as like, oh, that's the reason they really set them over the top to win for the Lakers, he's gonna get paid anyways. So
but he could also just
want to have that.
He could just have that security, because he could come with us, and you never know. But I'd hope it would never happen. If he gets a major injury this year, he ain't gonna get paid next year. So
we're just hoping that he does sign.
We do hope that. Heck yeah.
I just don't want it to. It would suck if we don't get either of them because Aldridge, I don't think he's just gonna wait and see if we sign Drummond.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've heard people talk about Damian Jones possibly coming back, which I mean, he's not Drummond, but
I just at the end of the day, I feel like no matter what happens, I think a healthy AD, a healthy Bron, and even if we have to bring back Damian Jones, I think we're.
I think it's competitive. I think it's enough to compete. I wouldn't just say we're gonna just win because, like I said, I think the scariest team in the West right now is probably Denver.
Yeah,
I feel like Denver's just got the most.
I don't trust the Clippers no matter what.
I don't know. I like the Clippers because they didn't get better either. They're still the Clippers. Like, they're not.
Well, they got Ibaka and Rondo now,
but it's like they're pretty much in our boat. Like, they didn't really get better.
It's funny. I actually saw them talking about it. They said that supposedly the Clippers brought in Rondo for like leadership, and then people were like, "Isn't that what Kawhi and Paul George is supposed to be there for?" Like, if you got questions about leadership and you got these two stars on your team already, and neither of them is being enough of a leader, like
I said, I feel like they're in the same boat as us. They're just they're not. Not that we're not good, but they didn't do nothing. So it's like I feel like we could take the Clippers team. We've done it.
Yeah, and I think on paper we did get better for the offseason. When we're healthy, I think we definitely got better with Trez. And I mean, obviously, we still need a more athletic big man and possibly another wing player because I feel like West gets too many Matthews. West gets too many minutes.
He has too many Matthews.
Too many Matthews. We do see too much Matthews. I'll tell you that much. But he gets too many minutes for his production. If we can get another wing player, I've heard Otto Porter might get bought out. He might stay in Orlando or he might get bought out, but we'll see. If we can get him and Drummond, I would like that because I feel like I almost got excited when we got Terrence Ross, because they said supposedly when they were doing that whole fire sale, the Magic, that the Lakers were in the running for it.
Yeah.
And I never heard it getting too close. But as far as the Lowry thing, I mean, like I was saying earlier, you know, it didn't happen. We just gotta accept it, because I see a lot of people on Twitter like really pissed about it still, calling Pelinka, like saying that he's like dumb for it and stuff. And I'm like, he's not gonna just make a move to make a move. Lowry wanted to get paid $25 million a year. You know, we have to factor that in. He might have just left, and then we give up like so many assets for just like maybe a ring. You know? So I think the more of a priority is Drummond for sure. And I mean, like you said, we got a tough stretch coming up. We got the Magic on Sunday though. That should be a win.
We'll have to see what happens, man.
But like we said, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. And let us know if you've been here and you listen to these videos all the time. So we don't really get too many comments, but shout out to Valerie. She left the comment. We still got to respond to the last one.
Yeah, we'll respond. She said hi.
She said hi.
Hi, baby.
But yeah, so like we said, if you're new, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Be safe, Laker Nation.